to the Sportcat Show.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The one, the only Sportcat. I am here with you for the next 2 hours on the Sportcat Daily Gazette, and we're live on Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and Right Talk Radio. And as I cannot forget, Radio X in Australia. If you want to come over and see why Mama says I have a face for radio, come over and find us at the Para R Normal Guys. 3 words, Para R Normal Guys with a Z. And you can see us. And you can also join the chat. We see Denise is here. Hello, Denise. We see Chris is here. Hello, hello. We see KG is here somewhere. There he is. And yes, everybody, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button, or at least hit the like button, or hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. Hit that little bell for notifications so you know when we do go live. Wendell is here as well. Hello, Wendell. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have, I was a little late because Yergs and I were discussing some current events, and well, there's some going on right now. We'll get into that, but let's start off in our normal happy way, talking about what today is. All right, so today, May 2nd, is the Kentucky Oaks Day. All right, and I think that's the Kentucky Derby is this weekend, so I'm not a huge following of that type of sport. And the 12th day of Ridvan, it's National Baby Day, Brothers and Sisters Day. I have a half sister. Harry Potter Day, International Scurvy Awareness Day, which means that Glen, make sure you warn them you are scared you look at it. Well, I kind of did. Today is International Scurvy Day, so make sure you're getting your vitamin C, you're eating your citrus fruits. Well, I guess it's not National Israel Independence Day, National Byron Day. If you know a Byron, say hello. National Life Insurance Day, plan for your future. National No Pants Day. Ooh, I kind of like the sounds of that one. National Play Your Ukulele. I want a ukulele. I really do. I want to learn how to play the ukulele. So maybe today will be the day I break down and buy one. I just won't tell Mrs. Sportcat. National Sandra Day. If you know a Sandra, say hello. National Space Day. Well, as long as you're not Kate Perry, you will be okay. Because the internet conspiracy theory is Kate Perry went to space, and while she was in space, they changed her with an alien, or an alien took over her body. I'm not kidding you. That is a theory on the internet. It's National Truffle Day. You know, I don't ever remember a truffle. I'm sure I've had them. National Tuba Day. It's Polish Flag Day. School Lunch Hero Day. Well, I assume that's talking about buying your kids lunches or buying other kids lunches. So take a baby to lunch day. Well, that's a good idea. It's certain parts of the country today. Well, the world's going to be good for it. It's World Tuna Day. And I don't think they mean by eating tuna fish. Oh, I wish I had the Grease Man song Tuna Fish right now. Yom Hazmat Day. All right. Today's birthday is Bam Bam. It's not from the Flintstone. I don't know who Bam Bam is. And it's Black Smurf's birthday. I didn't know there was a Black Smurf. I always thought it was a Blue Smurf. Hey, what am I? I am not being racist. I did not know there was a Black Smurf. Who knew? So, all right. Yeah, and I don't think I have the story, but Kanye is well, I wear stretchy pants, Wendell, so that I'm comfortable, except when I go to Walmart. Then I put on my stretchy shorts and I put on some old Crocs. Kanye is suing his dentist because he got him addicted to nitrous oxide. That's to me the silliest thing I think I've heard today. But all right, so we talked about School Lunch Hero Day, National Space Day, Truffle Day, Life Insurance Day. All right, well, let's see what birthdays and events occurred today. And what do we have here? Let's just skip ahead because we got a lot of news stories here. E.E. Smith, the author considered the father of the space opera, which is a science fiction story. Benjamin Spock, pediatrician, best-selling author of Common Sense Baby Care. Let's see. Ted Dabney, founder of the video machine gaming system Atari. All right. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I think I said that already. Memorable events. Well, I should know this. Stonewall Jackson is wounded by his own men during an attack on Chancellorsville in 1878. The United States stopped minting the 20-cent coin. I never knew there was a 20-cent coin. I know we've stopped, well, I'm pretty sure we've stopped minting pennies. So these 2025, or maybe they already do 2026 pennies, the ones that get out are probably going to be worth some money. The first baseball game of the Negro National League is played in 1920. And in 1945, the U.S. 82nd Airborne Division liberates a concentration camp in Woblin. I probably said that wrong. And the U.S. Army in 1945, their 522nd Field Artillery Battalion halts a death march from Dachau to the Austrian border, saving hundreds of prisoners. All right, and let me catch up in the chat here. Well, yeah, Wendell, I did. Let's see. Chris says, hey, she informed me that I have to pay a royalty every time I say her name. So that C person you're talking about. Pictures, Chris, pictures. And yes, Ken, I did. I bought an Atari at a yard sale many years ago. That was at the time, that was the thing to have. So speaking of yard sales, if you hear a lot of traffic behind me, apparently today is like some kind of national yard sale day too, because there is a 9-mile yard sale that is going down my mother's street and around the corner and back around down to another street where it's going back down and around. So these people are nuts. I went out there earlier. I mean, they're like parking on our yard and I'm out there yelling, "Get off my lawn." So crazy. All right. So today, May 2nd, we covered that Media Alert Day. Well, New Day Proclamation and National Investing Day. Okay. May Day, School Principals Day, Silver Star Day. No, that was yesterday. All right. We've covered that. Because we need to get into some news here because we have some breaking news that started about 20 minutes ago. Let's cover real quick in history what happened and then we'll get into it. Today in history, on May 2nd, Anne Boleyn is jailed for adultery. In 1536, you could be jailed for adultery. She was arrested for adultery, a charge that was likely false. Boleyn's husband, King Henry the Eighth, may have fabricated the accusation to have her beheaded so he could marry his third wife. Why couldn't he just say, "I'm done with you, get out"? I guess they didn't do that back then. If he's done with you, off with your head. So I won't let Mrs. Sportcat hear this story. She might get ideas. Let's see. She was informed of the charge. She was taken to the Tower of London, where she remained in prison until her execution 2 weeks later. That to me would even be worse. You know they're going to lop your head off. Why are we waiting so long? In 1729, Catherine the Great is born in Prussia. Is that right? Persia. The Washburn Mill explosion takes place in 1878. An accumulation of flour dust leads to an explosion at the Washburn Mill in Minneapolis, Minnesota, killing 18, also known as the Great Mill Disaster, was caused by two dry milestones rubbing against each other, creating a spark that ignited the flour dust, and the mill was quickly destroyed, and every worker inside was killed. In 1933, we don't cover this cryptid much on our show. I need to. I've got a lady that is here in the States that does research on this. She does research and is known for her research on Champ up in Vermont. But today, in 1933, the first known sighting of the Loch Ness Monster. A newspaper in Inverness, Scotland, reports that a local couple spotted an enormous animal rolling and plunging. Wonder if it was like a dog on its back, rubbing its back on the surface of the Loch Ness, sparking the famous legend of the Loch Ness Monster. The creature soon became a national phenomenon. It still is. There's cameras you can watch live there, with circuses offering rewards for the capture of Nessie. How are you going to capture something that big? And fabricated photos capturing the attention of the world. Today, the legend of the monster endures, with tourists flocking to the Loch Ness in hopes of spotting Nessie. Well, 1954, the attempted assassination of Frank Costello. Frank Costello was a legendary crime boss who inspired The Godfather and was attacked by Vincent the Chin. I wonder where I got the name the Chin. On orders of Vito. Vito. Don't let anybody named Vito be your friend, apparently. An attempt on his life failed, and he later refused to name his attacker, making peace with Genovese and bringing their year-long feud to an end. If you try to kill me, I don't know if I'd be your friend. 1972, a world-famous J. Edgar Hoover died. He was the director of the FBI. He was the first director of the FBI. He died in Washington, D.C. at his home. He served as the Bureau's predecessor, the Bureau of Investigation, starting in 1924, and he later helped establish and expand the FBI as it is known today. Hoover was still the director when he died of a heart attack at age 77. And on this day in 2011, Osama bin Laden was unalived. All right. So there's that. We'll skip through this real quick. The Battle of Berlin, 1945, ends. The Soviet army storms the capital, forcing Germany commander of the city, General Helmuth, wielding to surrender. 1945, more than 1 million German soldiers officially surrendered to Western allies in Italy and Austria. 1949, Arthur Miller wins the Pulitzer Prize for his play Death of a Salesman. I wonder if I'm kin to him. 1982, Argentine cruiser General Belgrano is sunk by British submarine HMS Conqueror with the loss of more than 350 men during the Falklands War. 2008, Cyclone Nigaris makes landfall in Myanmar, killing 130,000 people and leaving millions homeless. Of course, we know Osama bin Laden got hit off. 2008, the first film in the Marvel their universe, the MCU, Iron Man, directed by Jon Favreau and starring Robert Downey as Tony Stark, appeared today. And I still am in awe of the fact that from 2008 until just a few years ago, they knew the exact storyline. And I assume now that they've started wave 2 of the MCU, they know the storyline that will end in another 20 years for my grandkids. In 2023, the Writers Guild of America votes to strike over pay in the industry changes, halting television production. Certainly harmed the economy in Atlanta. And Sergio Pavlikov's musical Peter and the Wolf premiered in Moscow, 1936. Leicester City was the English premier title winner, I guess, after starting the season at 5,000 to 1 odds in 2016. Yeah, I would like to have had a bet on them. So, Wendell, you're just silly. I thought it was the 202, the Zebco 202. Isn't that the one everybody gets when they first start fishing? This is the Zebco 202. I was thinking it was for some reason, but. And Frank Costello isn't mentioned a lot by the general public, but he was a really bad dude. Yes, he was. And he says, Leicester City winning that championship may have been the biggest long-term sports upset ever. Oh, man, I don't know. I really don't know. There was 2 years ago, one play known as the perfect shot in disc golf that won the championship that is also been quite consistent. Well, he says, yes, but it has plastic gears. Well, when you're a kid, you don't know the difference. I was pretty sure the first one I had was a 202. Very first fish I caught was on a 202. It broke. I was on a military base, and some MPs had just happened to stop by, and they helped me hand reel it in. And it was a pretty, well, for my size, it was a pretty good sized catfish. All right, so the breaking news we have is there is a tsunami threat. Chile and Argentina are order evacuations post-quake. So Chilean authorities have issued a tsunami warning for the country's southernmost region Friday morning, and Chile and Argentina order evacuations after a major 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of South America. The USGS said the quake struck at the Drake Passage at a shallow depth of 10 kilometers, which is 6.2 miles, 219 kilometers from the city of Ushuaia in Argentina, and a similar distance from the Chilean towns of Puerto Williams. It placed the magnitude at 7.4, slightly below the reported 7.5 reported by Chile's National Seismology Center. It struck at 9:58 local time, which was 12:58 Greenwich Mean Time, and it is currently Greenwich Mean Time 5:27. So let's see, was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours? Yeah, that's right. And where did I lose the track there? And several aftershocks have also been recorded. And the notice that went out, attention due to the threat of a tsunami, request for the evacuation of the sector of the coastline of the Mangalese region. Chile's emergency agency Senapred wrote on its social media account. President Gabriel Boric echoed the call for the evacuation of the coastline throughout the Magellan's region on his X account. Authorities in Argentina, far south, Tierra del Fuego province, said the quake was felt mainly in Ushuaia and called for residents to evacuate nearby villages on the Beagle Channel. Authorities in both Tierra del Fuego, and Mangalese in Chile said there had been no reports of damages and no injuries so far. Chile is one of the countries most affected by earthquake. 3 tectonic plates converge within its territory: the Nazca, the South American, and Antarctic plates. The wave train generated by Friday's earthquake is expected to reach the coastline of the Antarctic Peninsula in the southern tip of South America in the coming hours, with its estimated heights of being 0.3 meters and 1 meter, according to the Chilean Navy. The first places these waves could reach are the Chilean military base Bernardo O'Higgins and Aro Prat in Antarctica, it added. Situated at the southern tip of South America, the Mangalese, and I'm proud of Mangalese is the region, is Chile's second largest, but is sparsely populated and lies adjacent to Argentina's Tierra del Fuego province. The governor's office of Tierra del Fuego in Argentina said the quake was felt primarily in the city of Ushuaia and to a lesser extent in other towns throughout the province. While urging calm, it called the residents in and around the towns of Puerto Almanza, about 75 kilometers east of Ushuaia on the Beagle Channel, to preventatively evacuate the area and move to higher, safer ground. And according to them, the evacuations are going smoothly. On X, they showed Chileans evacuating their homes in Puerto Williams, the town closest to the quake's epicenter. Chile's police on its X account showed an officer pushing a person in a wheelchair up a hill in the town of 2,800 inhabitants. Other videos shared on X showed people in the town walking up a hill under sunny skies. The preventative evacuation was carried out well, with no incidents so far reported. Juan Carlos Andrade, director of Senpred in Magallanes, told reporters. In 1960, the southern Chilean city of Valdivia was devastated by a 9.5 magnitude earthquake, which is considered the most powerful ever recorded, killing 9,500 people. And in 2010, an 8.8 magnitude quake off the coast of central Chile triggered a tsunami that left more than 520 dead. Let's see. Wendell says, Denise says, I loved Peter and the Wolf. I had the story on a red record. I kind of remember that. Yeah, I actually do kind of remember that. And I I never hold the rod, I hold the reel. Oh, okay, Wendell. I'll go with that. The problem I had with digging this story up was currently there are no maps showing its trajectory. And I find it really striking considering that this went, a couple hours ago. So we will check in on it before we go offline. Now, in other breaking news, the IAF, which is the Indian Air Force, started landing go drills and know about emergency landings in Jammu and Kashmir. So we're on the opposite side of the world, and we're talking about the Indian Air Force now. They're making test runs. A lot of people don't realize that interstates were designed for the military primarily, and that's what they're doing now is they're testing landing strips with helicopters and jets. And this is because they feel that there's going to be an imminent attack within the next 36 hours. The Indian Air Force on Friday started its much anticipated land and go drills on the 3.5-kilometer stretch of the Ganga Expressway in Uttar Pradesh. You know, if I'm going to be reporting these things, you'd think I know the name, marking a significant milestone in the country's defense preparedness. Does everybody remember a few years ago, our government did this and people went absolutely nuts? And yes, I forgot to mention that Ruth Buzzy did die today at 88. And somebody give me an answer to this question if you know it. Didn't towards the end of Ruth Buzzy's career, she get a little bit like Red Fox naughty with her comedy, or am I thinking of somewhere else? So, but yes, our government did this a few years ago, testing landing on the highways with helicopters, and I think it was A-10s, and people were losing their mind. Earlier emergency landing drills carried out on the Purvanchal Expressway. Until now, similar emergency landing drills were carried out on the Lucknow or Agra and Purvanchal expressways, but those were limited to daytime operations. This trial involves a range of Indian Air Force aircraft, and it lists their numbers and types. I'm not familiar with them. The Hercules is quite big. I do know that. The Jaguar, I believe that's a fighter, and so is the Mirage. Ahead of the drill, the Ganga Expressway was equipped with over 250 CCTV cameras to ensure foolproof security and surveillance. Top defense and state officials were also present to oversee the proceedings amid heavy security. Now, that might be a sign if you're a prepper. If you start noticing your local government putting up extensive amounts of cameras along about a 1-mile stretch of straight highway and increasing the fencing, you might want to pay attention. Just a heads up. So India's first airstrip was built on an expressway. It's interesting to note that India's first airstrip was built on an expressway to allow fighter jets operations at any time of the day or night. To ensure safety, 250 CCTV cameras have been installed along the stretch, enabling real-time monitoring and quick police presence in response to any incident. All right, so know all about the emergency landings. Well, in April last year, they conducted the first test run of the 3.5-kilometer long emergency landing strip with 5 helicopters on the Jammu-Srinagar highway. They used Chinooks and M17 helicopters and landed on a stretch of the national highway. Around 2 sorties of U.S. manufactured Chinook and Russian-made M117 helicopters landed along a different stretch of highway. And the work on the landing strip, which was started in 2020, completed in 2024 as part of the initiative by the International Indian Air Force with the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways for the creation of ELFs, which I'm assuming is an emergency landing field at different locations across the country. Here we go. Security was heightened along the landing strip with additional personnel to ensure that people do not stray close to the area. Chinook helicopters with a top speed of 310 kilometers per kmph, I assume is kilometers per hour, are used for heavy lifting heavy weights. The main cabin can hold over 33 fully equipped troops. It can also be used for medical evacuation. In a helicopter, which has a travel range of 741 kilometers, can accommodate 24 stretchers. The M117 helicopters can accommodate up to 35 troops. These helicopters have been pressed into relief and rescue missions during natural disasters. The Indian Air Force ELF drill is to showcase the synergy and liaison between civil agencies such as the Highway Authority and district administration and state police. in the Air Force to conduct the complex, multifaceted activities. Yeah, I think that they're preparing because India and Pakistan are about to start popping off at each other. So, goodness gracious. It's not good. It's not good. Let's see. Denise, you are not old. Wendell, you got to go. Oh, come on. Who am I going to harass? And yes, we did talk about Ruth Buzzy. Chris says, I just pay attention to everything our government does. That way I'm aware of exactly when they are bending me over yet again. Well, here's one that many people, in fact, I don't know that this was even reported. And this came out current event notification report May 2nd. Check this out. U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission Operations Center. This is for an incident that occurred on 4/24 in Maryland. Yeah, anybody heard about it? Upper Marlboro, Maryland, Prince George's County. And it gives their license and all that fancy stuff. And I listed it as a non-emergency, but pay attention to the notes here when I read them. So, a state report damaged moisture density gauge. The following information was provided by the Maryland Department of Environmental Resources. Okay, so it came out from the Maryland Department of Environmental Resources, but yet the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission is reporting it. Yeah, that's shady. Yes, exactly, with the sketchy stuff. I agree on this one wholeheartedly. On April 23rd, that was a couple days ago at 12:40 Eastern Time, the radiation safety officer of AB Consultants reported an incident to the Maryland Department of Environmental Services, damage to a portable nuclear gauge. What? This is Troxler. Stop it. Troxler model 3440, serial number, blah, 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 blah. And it gives all the other things. Took place in a road construction site near Upper Marlboro. The gauge was not in use at the time of the incident, and the technician was present near the gauge. A multi-purpose compactor operated via radio remote control accidentally struck the plastic housing of the gauge, causing visible damage. According to the gauge technician, the compactor lost control during the remote operation, resulting in an unintended collision with the gauge. No personal injuries were reported. Well, that's good to know. Remember, up here, non-emergency. The area was immediately secured, and emergency personnel, including firefighters and responders, MDE, Maryland Department of Environment staff, arrived thereafter and conducted a site survey, interviewed personnel, and inspected the damaged gauge. The radioactive sources within the device were confirmed to be intact. That's good news. That's good news. But as a precaution, the gauge was safely packaged and transported to the Northeast Technical Services for leak testing and further evaluation, which means they may polish this up and say, oh, we can put it back to work again. Decisions regarding the repair or the disposal will be made on the NE National, I'm assuming, National, whether it be National NETS, that's not nuclear emergency. So it's got some nuclear is the first word, so it's scary enough. Findings. All right, here we go. Keywords here. A follow-up radiation survey of the area was conducted after the gauge's removal, and no radiation levels above background levels were detected. What? The Maryland Department of Environmental Services has requested the licensee submit documentation of the leak test, calibration details of the gauge, and provide transfer and or dispose certificates upon completion by the Radiological Health Program, and will follow up this reactive investigation until the device is repaired or disposed of. All right. So, yeah, there you go. We didn't know anything about this, but it was less than a Cat 3 level of radioactive materials. It's good to know. It's good to know. Less than Cat 3. Unlikely to cause permanent injury to individuals. Unlikely. Unlikely. Trust us. We're from the government. We're here to help you. But happened in April, and we just found out about it just tucked away in a little teeny tiny press release that nobody paid attention to except some guy by the name of Sportcat hidden in the deep hills of the Appalachia in his mama's attic. So, cha-ching! Millions of dimes spill onto Texas highway after a truck rolls. Millions of coins spilled onto a Texas highway this week after a tractor trailer hauling $800,000 in dimes rolled over in an accident, authorities said. The spillage led to the closure of a portion of the southbound lanes of I-287 in Alvord. For about half a day, workers got on their hands and knees to pick up the coins, in addition to using brooms, shovels, and large industrial vacuums. They probably call out the environment for this. The tractor trailer rolled over onto its side at about 5:30 a.m. Tuesday, veering off the road and overcorrecting, according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. The highway reopened about 7 p.m. that day, the DPS said. The driver and passenger were transported. The driver and a passenger, so I'm going to assume that was a guard, I'm just guessing, were transported to a hospital with injuries that were not considered life-threatening. Alvarado is about 80 miles or 130 kilometers northwest of Dallas. The tractor and trailer appears to be a part of fleet of trucks operated by the Western Distributing Transportation Corporation, which has a division that moves cargo for the government in armored vehicles and armed personnel. A person answering the phone at the company Thursday said they had no comment. Would you? The U.S. Mint said on its website that the nation's sole manufacturer of legal coins left with the agency on Thursday and was not immediately returned. So, in a few weeks, if you want to go metal detecting in that part of the area, you might pick up some loose change. But a lot of people don't realize the cargoes that are hauled above us, next to us, and on our seas. As a responder, a hazmat technician, and a toxicology medic, we got alerts about some things. Never about something like this. I'm sure the police did, but that's an incident. Why did it not have more armed personnel? I mean, I don't know, whatever. And I want to follow up on this. It talks about this company, Western Distributing Transportation Corporation. If you remember, a couple days ago, I reported the New England Patriots plane was transporting to Gitmo. And very few people on the internet reported about this thing. Well, now it's hit the conspiracy weary web pages, and it's all a go. Maybe because of me, I don't know. But at any rate, it's apparently owned by Omni, that the Kraft Group leases from Omni, but they have the Patriots logo on it, and the Omni corporation subcontracts with the government to transport military personnel, dignitaries, and apparently prisoners. So there you go. That was something you heard first here on the Sportcat Daily Gazette. Many people didn't know about it. All right, another story. If anybody remembers how fentanyl began, which unfortunately as a paramedic I do, it started from the veterinarian business. And well, here we go again. Animal sedative metatelamidine is showing up in the U.S. illegal drug supply, according to CDC. The animal sedative metadatatomine is increasingly showing up in the U.S. illegal drug supply, according to 3 reports released. This is pretty new news because I haven't gotten any information on it from first responders and EMS. I'm still in the loop on that. Okay, so metatomidine, which is used to sedate pets and is a somewhat similar to xylene, was first detected in illegally manufactured opioids in North America in 2022. Investigators say the drug is being mixed with other illicit drugs, mainly fentanyl, the synthetic opioid behind most deaths. On Thursday, the CDC for Control and Prevention published 3 reports about recent clusters being in Chicago, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. If anybody remembers where the fentanyl started, it was in Cincinnati, Chicago, and Philadelphia. That was where the fentanyl first started showing up. In Chicago, health officials last May were puzzled by a surge of overdoses. The patients had taken fentanyl, but the overdose reversing drug Narcan didn't work. Well, we're going to have to find another anti opioid. So, after an investigation, the city's health department reported 12 confirmed cases of metotidine involved overdose, the largest to date, as well as more than 160 probable or suspected cases, including a death. 2 other reports focused on metotidine with withdrawal in patients in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. All right, so there it is. That came out yesterday. They always drop the important things right around 5 p.m. That didn't make any news that I heard about, but you will start seeing that it's going to start showing up. The drug fentanyl was a veterinarian drug that escaped a Cincinnati zoo. It was used to sedate or euthanize elephants. And that's how it got out to the public, was through Cincinnati. And EMS, and we were baffled by it then, but now it's if you don't run a call a day on that, you're not doing something right. So you're in a small town. Oh, I just let this headline read for itself. Ilhan Omar tells a reporter to, I'm just going to say it, fuck off. Get blasted for unhinged response, and gets blasted for her response. On Thursday, leftist representative Ilhan Omar, she's a Democrat from Minnesota, told a reporter to F off after he asked her about whether more Democrats should be vouching for Killamar Abrigo Garcia, an illegal immigrant and alleged MS-13 gang member deported to his home country of El Salvador. The Daily Caller News Foundation reporter Miles Morale shared a video on social media in which he introduced himself as Omar, along with other people, walked outdoors in his direction. So this, I don't know if you can hear the audio on that. I hope you could. Do you think more of Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador? And was what she was asked. And she replied with F off as she and others continued to walk down the sideways. I'm sorry, what, Congresswoman? The reporter asked. She replied back, you should F off. Who should? You should. Why me? She didn't answer that question and continued to walk away. But one of the people she was with, apparently a staffer, told Morale they were not taking any more questions. The exchange happened after Senator Chris Van Hollen, a Democrat from Maryland, and some other Democrats have traveled to El Salvador to push for the return of Abrigo Garcia, whose lawyers have denied his part of MS-13, despite documents indicating otherwise. On Wednesday, the Bulwark reported House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat from New York, was urging Democrats to stop the trips to El Salvador amid intra-party debate on how intensely they should clash with Donald Trump on deportations. Jeffries later denied the report. In posting on X, Morales said of the exchange with Omar, that was very unprofessional of her. Our elected officials should not be acting this way. And she responded to a post from Libs of TikTok that contained the video. I said what I said. You and all your miserable trolls can F off. People in Minnesota are paying for her. I'm sorry. It was a good clip. I don't know why there was no audio going out. Let me look at something. I'm pretty sure I got everything clicked here. Oh, I can't do that there. Let me pull it up here. I'm pretty sure I got everything. Let's see where that comes in. It comes there. It goes out. Oh, I know why I can't do it. Stand by. I'll fix that. I'm a brave troll. Um, copy, copy link address, and let's go over here, and we'll open a different browser, and we'll paste the link address, and see what happens. No, paste and go. There we go. And let's see what happens. Oh, there he is. Yeah, there's his tweets. There's that. Let's go. How far down? Oh, here we go. All right, let me know. Can you hear this here? Oh, there's no audio. Why is there no audio? All right, fine. Where's the audio? Here we go.
Your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador. Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with the Daily Caller News Foundation. Do you think more of your Democratic colleagues should be traveling to El Salvador to advocate on behalf of Rodrigo Garcia?
I think you should fuck off. Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, what, Congresswoman?
You should fuck off.
Who should?
You.
Why me?
We're not taking any questions right now, but here you go.
Yeah, thanks. Congresswoman Omar, I'm Miles Morrell with
So
the
I'm
Daily Caller
hoping-
News Foundation. Do you think more of your
Pause. I'm hoping you heard it that time. So I'm sure my FM radio affiliates are just loving me right now. But that comes from one of our elected officials. So yeah, we should be permitted as a agency to report that. So all right, so there you go. Yeah. So at any rate, apparently there's some infighting in the Democrat Party, and she is a member of the leftist squad. She's no stranger to controversy. She was kicked off the House Foreign Affairs Committee in 2023 for comments she made about Israel. Last year, Omar faced a censure threat for suggesting that some Jewish students were pro-genocide, but it did not come to pass. That comes to us from the Daily Wire. Should you choose to go look at it and read it and listen to it on your own, you can go to the Daily Wire. I'm merely just reporting it. Don't shoot the messenger. So on this one, unless you're a FM radio producer. All right. So we're going to People Magazine. Prince Harry loses critical court appeal for restored UK security. Now, I'm not a follower of the royalty, but didn't he ask to be kicked out or no longer princed or whatever you call it? This one has always mattered the most. The Duke of Sussex previously told People about the importance of the case. He lost his high-stakes appeal to reinstate his state-funded United Kingdom security, which he says was unjustly revoked after he stepped back from royal duties and relocated to the United States in 2020. Judge Sir Geoffrey Vose dismissed the appeal on Friday, adding that the two other judges agreed with his opinion. Delivering the verdict, Vose said the Duke was, in fact, stepping in and out of the cohort protection provided for the RAVEC, the government's Royal and VIP Executive Committee. Outside the UK, he was outside the cohort, but when in the UK, his security would be considered as appropriate, depending on the circumstances. It was impossible, I said in my judgment, to say that this reasoning was illogical or inappropriate. Indeed, it seemed sensible. Even if there had been a risk analysis from the Risk Management Board, it would very likely have only been confirmed the threat, the vulnerability and impact levels which the Duke of Sussex has faced when earlier risk analyses were undertaken, the judge added, but it would have had nothing to say on the critical features of the changed situation. Let me just put that into unlegal mumble jumble. They didn't give him his guards back. The Duke of Sussex already traveled from his California home to attend the two-day hearing at the Royal Court of Justice in London on April 8th and 9th. For years, he's been fighting for the restoration of automatic state-funded security. During his visits to the UK and as he left the court on Europe, he told People he was feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. That's People magazine he's speaking to. For Prince Harry, this legal battle has been described by his legal team as a fight for his life. In February 2024, he lost his initial case decision to downgrade his security, which he appealed. A source close to his legal team had previously said they were cautiously optimistic about the outcome. The Duke of Sussex said that his worst fears have been confirmed by the whole legal disclosure in his case, and that's really sad, though he has had juggled multiple court cases and a strike back at the British tabloid press. This particular fight is crucial for his future and his family with his wife, Meghan Markle. This one has always mattered the most, he told People magazine. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex lost their police protection in the UK when they stepped back from royal duties in 2020. Harry's lawyers said in court on April 8th that he and Meghan felt forced to step back from the role of full-time official working members of the royal family as they considered they were not being protected by the institution and had wished to continue their duties in support of the late Queen as privately funded members of the royal family. The security was soon downgraded, but Harry's legal team maintains that they failed to properly assess the unique risks posed to Harry and his family. Instead, they gave a case-by-case arrangement based on current needs, which his side says is inadequate, inappropriate, and ineffective. So, all right, there you go. He wants his guards back. Well, sorry. You should have not done that, I guess. When you leave royalty, you're out. All right, we're running out of time. We're top of the hour here. Let me catch up the comments. Chris asked, is it true that those animal meds are usually targeted to steal because they are usually under lesser watch and the penalties for their theft is lesser than human meds? The time with fentanyl, that was the case, Chris. Now it has been changed somewhat. I mean, you can still order antibiotics over the internet that are the same that you get from your pharmacy. They're just in fish med form. So it's 6 on one hand, half dozen on the other, to be honest with you. Let's see. All right, so we got the audio. Good. And Chris says, I can imagine the outrage if Trump told a reporter to F off. Exactly. Oh, Brenda, you missed me breaking FM rules. Come on. Why do you not show up in time, Brenda? And I had a great royalty case for you. All right, well, we'll do this one real quick. I think, we got 2 more real quick. Top of the hour, thank you to Radio X Australia, Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and Right Talk Radio for allowing us to tickle your ears. If you'd like to come over and join the chat, you can come over to the Para Are Normal Guys. 3 words, Para Are Normal Guys with a Z, as in zebra or Zulu or something like that. So here we go. Court documents revealed further. This comes to us from Zero Hedge. Court documents reveal further criminal activity of would-be Trump assassin. Recently unsealed court documents have revealed that Ryan Ralph, the guy who tried to assassinate President Trump at his own golf course, was trying to smuggle Afghans into the United States over the southern border. How about that? The document contains text that Ralph is a human smuggler. He's a human smuggler known as Ramiro in Mexico with the Department of Justice, alleging that the communications reveal his involvement in efforts to transport Afghan families from Amamaquia, a city south of Mexico City, to Eagle Pass, Texas. He's an outstanding, fine young gentleman. In the WhatsApp messages, Ralph wrote, "This is a humanitarian mission, dude. I can pay $500 or $1,000 to drive them to Eagle Pass. This family needs help." As reported headlines by USA's Ken Silva, the trafficker demanded more money to facilitate the crime, reasoning that the family's complete lack of legal documents would make it much more difficult. You think? The smuggler also suggested that the police bribes would be necessary and quoted the price of $1,800 per person. How do you put a price on a person, a living human being? He replied, "It is way too expensive just to take them to the border. It's like a one-day drive." All right, so you can go over and read all these on Zero Hedge. It shows the WhatsApp messages that went back and forth of a human smuggler. But perhaps even more disturbing and telling is the fact that Romero then suggested the family could enter the U.S. by posing as asylum seekers at the border. He said that he understood the people could likely illegally cross an Eagle Pass and still be granted a future court date and allowed to stay in the U.S. The pair even ruminated on the possibility of flying the migrants into the country if they were accepted into an asylum program. Defense attorneys are fighting to keep the communication out of his trial after he pled not guilty to attempted assassination of a presidential candidate, arguing that the texts are unrelated and may prejudice the jury. He is facing life in prison or the death penalty. Yeah. So there you go. All right. And so if you want to read that article, go over Zero Hedge, and they show you the WhatsApp messages. You can go back and forth and read all of them. It's quite lengthy, but he doesn't sound like he was a very nice guy. Oh, and I did keep this story up there. Kanye West intends to sue the dentist over how do you see life-altering harm? What? Kanye West has announced his intention to sue his former dentist, Thomas Conley, for causing life-altering harm to the rapper. He was previously the subject of claims from Yeezy employee Mio Vinopoulos, who accused the dentist of getting West addicted to nitrous oxide. In a notice sent to Conley, West and his wife Bianca Kinsery accused the dentist of malpractice. West was a patient of Conley's throughout 2024 and underwent several procedures with him and supplied the rapper with nitrous oxide gas. He directly accuses him of causing him life-altering harm caused by malice, misappropriation, and malpractice. Evidence shown that during the time Yi was under your care, you engaged in numerous inappropriate and dangerous practices that were far outside the bounds of any legitimate medical purpose or standard of care. These actions were not isolated incidents, but rather part of a pattern of improper conduct by you from 2024 through 2025 while Yi was your patient. Miss Sinceri, as Yi's spouse, was a witness to and impacted by many of these events, some of which took place at their shared residence. Conley is also accused of encouraging West to administer the gas himself and still continued to supply him with the addictive substance after he began to display neurological problems. West's legal team also claims to have messaged an apology from Conley. The letter of intent reveals that West was paying Conley $50,000 per month to be his dentist. There are also allegations that Conley supplied West with the drug Profenol in non-medical settings. Well, if he gave him that one, that's a bad one. The letter states that regarding the Profenol incident, as a result in this instance, he suffered extreme mental and physical distress, leading to urgent medical care. In another instance, evidence suggested additional improper use of Profenol or similar controlled substance when Yi had diminished capacity and was not aware or capable of knowingly consent for the usage of this substance. It is an anesthetic, Profenol, and it's one of the drugs found in Michael Jackson's system after his death in 2009. Conley is yet to respond to the incidents. Well, basically with Profenol, you stop breathing. I mean, you literally stop breathing. That's what it does. So yeah, that's not a good drug. We see the drug quite often. Brenda, where are you going? All right. So, I need a better chair while I'm here in the North studio. All right. So normally what we do is we're the anti-prepper show. We tell you why you survived and, well, you may die tomorrow, but today you're still with us because Daddy's got the keys. This is the FEMA Daily Operations Briefing for Friday, May 2nd, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, as given to the President of the United States, minus the secret squirrel stuff. There's no secret squirrel stuff if you're listening to us. And if you are a federal agent listening to me, please remember to hit the subscribe button. New significant ongoing operations, none, and new declarations, there are none. They are watching floods from Puerto Rico, severe weather, heavy rain, flash flooding from the southern plains to the Ohio Valley. I'll be under the gun later this afternoon. The flood watch in Puerto Rico, well, it's going to rain 2 to 4 inches, isolated at 5+ inches, and heavy rain may lead to flooding in low-lying areas, rivers, creeks, and roads. Turn around, don't drown. If you're in Florida. If you're in Puerto Rico, be advised there's a flood watch due to the heavy rains. All right, this is, I think, been updated a little bit since this came out. We'll check and see. But you can see that the severe thunderstorms pretty much from the U.S. Texas border all the way up to the Ohio Valley, stretching into almost the deep south, are pretty intense for today. High winds, damaging hail, and a possible tornado outbreak is possible. That cold front, or that high, is still trying to push down and through, and today it's going to pick up. In fact, we'll see on radar here in a bit. It has picked up some energy as it will move to the northeast. Now, tomorrow, pretty much east of the Mississippi, we're calling for spotty showers. And if you're along the west coast and higher elevations in the west and Midwest, you can anticipate some mixed precipitation. And on Sunday, all of that should push out of the south and be mainly located into the Midwest to northeast, up on the 95 corridor. Pretty much you can see some rain on Sunday, but it's moving up to the northeast. And like I said, I think they've changed this, but we'll check. They've increased, I believe, the area where they believe the most severe weather will be from central Texas to most of Louisiana, the tip of our Arkansas, Alabama, and they've lowered it down into Georgia and spread it across Tennessee through central Kentucky and down. I think now it's up to the tip of West Virginia. Oh, welcome back, Brenda. I'm sorry. Are we interrupting your lunch or something? Is there something we can do for you, Brenda? So the hazard outlook for today, high winds, severe heavy rains in central Texas, Oklahoma. That's going to be skirting to the east, northeast, but it's going to be going slow. So central Tennessee is going to get really hit hard. Later today, we will here in East Tennessee. Space weather outlook for the past 24 hours has been minor with no radio blackouts, and they're not anticipating any in the next 24 hours. Brenda, I am so glad you shared that with all of us. We just love to know about your things or whatever, habits or whatever. All right. So there's that. The next thing we usually do is we do the President's Daily Schedule. Well, there was an out-of-town pool call time. Remember, because he is at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. So at 8 a.m., and there's nothing really on the schedule, although he is going to be doing some things. 7:30, the president will participate in the 2025 Republican National Committee Spring Gala. I'm sure it's a black tie affair, so we'll see what that is. I'm sure the media will all be all over it. My friend is still in Washington, D.C., so he will not be covering it. And they don't have anything updated for his weekend schedule, so I guess we won't get that till later. All right, we'll jump over to the... What? Yes, I am a human. Thank you. Why are you doing this to me? All right, I am a human. Go back to where it was. Stop this. Stop playing with this. Yes, resubmit. Continue. I am a human. All right, fine. We'll just go to... No, I already got... Where is it? Where am I going? Current. Here we go. All right. So we're going to go to the DEF CON flash for today. Good Lord. All right. So 5/2/2025, current geopolitical climate active. The United States continues to carry out 24/7 strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. In the political climate, we recognize that commitment to neutral and factual reporting often draws criticism, differing viewpoints from across the spectrum. We understand that not everyone agrees with, but, well, right now, basically, our threat level is Bravo. Our HEPCON level is Bravo, and our SP force level is Bravo, and we are considered to be at the Bravo level for possible activities against our country. So the most important thing they're talking about was the earthquake, and the tsunami has been has been issued. It'll occur in the Drake Passage, a reach known for its tectonic activity due to the boundary break between South American plate and the societal plate. And that gives us a little bit more information, not a whole lot. But let's see. No, that's old news. Our DEFCON level remains the same, but we can pretty much be thinking that we are on higher alert. I looked up the status for the UK, and their threat level is Bravo, and I'm not sure what it's called in Australia, but it's greater than 50%. It's like their terminology was the likelihood of something happening as we go into the weekend is greater than 50%. So all the world is currently on edge, and we're watching India and Pakistan as well. So, all right. So here's the National Weather Service's daily briefing. As I said, I think they changed it a little bit. The most severe weather and heavy rainfall from central Texas across Louisiana, Arkansas to West Tennessee. That's going to spread further to the east, northeast, but it's not going to get as far northeast, I don't think. It might get up into the central Louisville area. I don't know that it'll go quite that far later today. It just depends on how much energy it gets and can maintain. But I can tell you East Tennessee is going to be under the gun later today, as well as Alabama and as far south as Atlanta. So, and something that I was thinking about is I always remind everybody to have a weather radio and have a way of being alerted. We all rely on our phones. That's great, but we should have a weather radio. But someone brought up a fact to me in a message. Not all weather radios have batteries. Make sure you get a weather radio that has a battery in case for some reason during the storm, during the first part of the storm, you lose power and then it goes to battery backup, but then a tornado warning comes up. So there you go. So make sure to have a weather radio, smoke detector, and have both of them capable of being electric and battery, and carry some pocket tools. I recommend a flashlight. I always have one nearby, and a cutting tool of some sort in case you need to get out of something. All right, for tomorrow, the storm is not going to have as much intensity, but there is a possibility, although it is limited, for central North Carolina through southwest Virginia up into the D.C. metropolitan, Philadelphia, following that 95 corridor, for some severe stuff to pop up. They're not anticipating any tornadic activity. But pretty much east of the Mississippi, all the way up to Maine, we're going to get spotty showers and some soaking in and out of the area. Along the southern border, all the way over to the coastal area of the Pacific, we can expect the same spotty showers, with higher elevations still getting that Yankee dander in Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Colorado, Mexico, and Utah. Yes, the white stuff can still be falling. I just find it amazing. If you need a cutting tool, Andy has plenty to spare. Maybe I should do an unboxing on a knife and have Andy on screen with me. I think that'd be cool. All right. For day 3, which is Sunday, I still want everybody to be weather aware, but it doesn't look like there's going to be as much energy. As that storm is going to push to the northeast. Spotty showers pretty much from central Alabama over to the coastline down to the Keys. But along the 95, or we'll just call it the Route 1 corridor, all the way up to Maine, you can expect spotty showers over to the central Ohio Valley. And of course, still in the higher elevations along the Midwest of Washington, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado. I keep saying that one. Nevada, Utah, and Wyoming, and part of New Mexico can expect in the higher elevations some of that nasty Yankee dander, otherwise known as snow. Does anybody remember the bit that Saturday Night Live did on the snow that fell in Atlanta? And that guy had like 10 names for snow and was hilarious. So Brenda says, Andy woke me up yesterday to let me know that I had a bad storm coming and he wasn't wrong. Well, Brenda, if you would listen to this show, you would know that you should have a weather radio and be weather aware, because Andy can't be everywhere. He's usually busy sending out test messages in Maryland. So come on, Brenda, get with the program. Get a weather radio. Oh, come on. All right. We look into the Atlantic and we see nothing. And we look into the Pacific and we see nothing. But remember, that season starts in about 30 days. So be prepared. All right. Let's go on to our next thing here so we don't run out of time. We now are going to see, well, the satellite. We're going to go down north and see what the current weather conditions are. And it looks like, well, pretty much spotty showers. Sydney, Brisbane, Cairns, maybe up a little bit to the north of there and over on the west on Perth. But I don't believe they're calling for any significant precipitation, except for maybe along the coastlines on the northeast side and maybe the deep southwest, maybe of Perth, but not much. The temperature currently, right now, in Fahrenheit is 76 in Darwin. It's 75 in Port Hedland. Central in Alice Springs, it's 59. Down on the lower side of Adelaide, it's 59. Melbourne, 46. Sydney, 61. 60 in Brisbane. And we get up to the tip there in Cairns, it's 74. On the west side of the continent, Perth is 68. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a bad day overall for you guys. All right. So good morning to you, by the way. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're allowing us to tickle your ears. All right, so we're going to look at current temperatures in the lower 48. And it looks as though, once again, Tampa is going to win the prize, coming in at 86 degrees. Even down in the Keys, it's not quite that hot. Atlanta, 75. Washington, D.C., 84 degrees. New York, you're 78. All the way up in Burlington, you're in the 70s. Hopping over to Detroit, 68. Milwaukee, 50. Minneapolis, 49. Did I mention Chicago was 53. Louisville, 75. St. Louis, 64. Kansas, you're coming in at 61. And let's hop over to the West Coast. Seattle, it's warming up for you. 63, 64 at Portland. Medford, you are, I'm zoomed in too much. 66. Klamath Falls, I'm familiar with that area. 67 degrees. Let's see what it is up in Yakima. There's a story with me there. 74 in Yakima. That's a little bit of a more desert area. And down in Crescent City, California, 50 degrees. San Francisco, 57. And I believe down in LA, they're getting a cool 66. Let's look at the precipitation index for everyone. And we see pretty much the west part of the country can expect very little precipitation, but Mississippi, you're going to get the brunt of it today. In Texas, you're going to get some residual rain. It's still flooding for you. I know you guys have had a lot, but it's moving to the east, and you'll get a couple days reprieve. Birmingham, you're going to get some. Nashville's going to get some. Maybe up into Knoxville. We'll see, but they're anticipating that it's not going to be bad, but we're going to wait and see. Let's check out the current radar and see what's going on. All right. So as we can tell in central, where are we at? In central Dallas, northwest Dallas is where the heaviest thunderstorm is located. There's one to the south down along, is that Houston down there? What is that, Brenda? Tell me quick. Is that Houston down there? Oh, that's Dallas Fort Worth. All right. So there's some storms down there. Let me get caught up in the comments here. Brenda says she does, but she was sleeping. Brenda, you need to have one that will wake you up. Maybe you need one with a loud horn or something. And she says she has solar batteries. Well, what if it's cloudy? Chris said, I had a tornado take out a tree on the end of my block last month, and Andy didn't tell him a thing. Yeah, Andy, where were you? You should have helped Chris out. So you should have got Andy on the job. Andy, believe it or not, is on top of the weather events and emergency events. So, but he doesn't really tell me all the time. All right, so we see the next area of specific storms to the west of Memphis, and it's going to get into central Tennessee. Nashville's kind of getting it right now. Chattanooga, you're going to be getting hammered a little bit. I see severe thunderstorm warnings, but I don't see anything other than that. Nothing No, I don't see any tornadic activity like we did yesterday. If you remember yesterday when I turned this on, it was just lit up, and there was 2 tornado, or maybe 3 at the time. And then if we get up here to Cleveland, this is where another area where they're once again going to get a little bit. It's not going to be as intense, but they're still getting some residual energy from this storm, and it's going to be moving all the way over to Burlington. Once it crosses Lake Champlain, it'll be over in Burlington in a little while. So that is your current radar, and I don't see any tornadic warnings. But let's go over to Weather Warning and see what they have. What do we bet? I haven't looked yet. Is there a test message? Whoa, wait a minute. It's way down there. All right, well, we'll get to it. Ohio, special weather statement. Tennessee, well, Rutherford, Tennessee. This is all central Tennessee. They're calling for a thunderstorm warning. That's to the west of Nashville. Oklahoma, flood warnings. Indiana, Kentucky, severe thunderstorm warnings. Talked about the flood advisory in Puerto Rico. Special weather statement in Alabama. It's that northwest section is where they can expect possibly some heavy rains and frequent cloud to ground lightning and a thunderous boomer. South Carolina, later this afternoon, you're going to be getting some of our fun. Up in Ohio, they've got a special weather statement, and well, it just updated. Where'd it go? Georgia just came in with all kinds of weather alerts just right now. It knocked everything out. So Georgia, Pickens, Lumpkin, White, Union Towns, Bartow, Cherokee, those areas, that is pretty much to the northwest of Atlanta, where those warnings just popped, or special weather statements just popped up. Ohio just got a severe thunderstorm warning for Delaware and Licking. All right, so we'll continue down. Alabama, that's your special weather statement for later today. And of course, we just saw that the warnings popped up for Georgia. Severe thunderstorm, Habersham County, that's at the base of the mountains in the Appalachia in northeast Georgia. Small craft advisory along the bays in Maryland and Chesapeake. And let's see, special weather statement in Georgia, Ohio, West Virginia, Alabama, Tennessee. Those all areas can anticipate those special weather statements changing to severe thunderstorms. Texas, Liberty in Harris County, Puerto Rico still flooding. Louisiana and Kentucky has now got a thunderstorm warning. And this is dropping down to where it was later in the day. Oklahoma flood warning. Indiana, Kentucky, severe thunderstorms. That talked about that. And there's our test message from Andy. Once again, 1415 to 1425. Monitoring message only. Please disregard. Oh, so are you friends with him on Facebook, Chris? You should be. He's really a good guy. I love Andy to death. Even though Brenda's cussing him. You didn't save a life, Chris. You didn't save your life, Chris. Let's see. These are all older warnings, and it's getting back into where we can see for the thunderstorm warnings and everything that are ending just about now. But it looks like they just updated something. Let's see what they updated here. So Virginia has now issued a special weather statement and a severe thunderstorm warning in Ohio. All right. So the activity currently right now, the hot spot, that area from central Texas, Louisiana, the tip of Georgia. It now looks as though it's going to move a little bit further south, so it may hit the Atlanta area. Chattanooga and Knoxville will be under the gun here in a little bit, when I'm probably at Walmart. What a great time for it. All right, so tornadic activity. Well, they say it's a small chance, but some of those cells have got a little bit of power, so they're only calling it 2% from central Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, most of Tennessee and Kentucky, and just a little tippy-toe portion of Virginia, West Virginia in there for possible. But they say that the chances are low, but some of those storms pack a little bit of power. All right, let's check out our next thing here. This is the wind map. We always check in on Columbus to make sure it's always windy in Columbus. And I guess that's the most recent. No, there we go. So this is updated as of 110, so it's a little bit old. It's showing, well, it's pretty much showing most of the air coming still off of the Gulf, riding up the Mississippi and splitting in the Ohio Valley, where it goes east and west. below Chicago, back up into Canada, and out to the northeast over Washington, D.C. And we see that other energy in Dallas and Denver as the turbulence is going to be coming there off of the mountains, meeting that energy and going to the north. And up in the far tip of the country there, up in New England, most of the winds are coming off the Great Lakes, Canada, down into the Atlantic Ocean. So Andy said he is not doing good. Is he okay? I mean, is it just because of his underreporting of our needs, not servicing our needs? He's okay, right? I mean, I worry about Andy. I do really like Andy. I even like Wendell. So Chris says, I don't care about cities in the Southeast. Nope, not at all. All right, so we see a little cell over here in Arizona. What is that? Prescott, to the east of Prescott. It's just a small cell that's putting out a little electricity. Albuquerque, Los Alamos, Santa Fe, you got a small cell there. Well, he needs to help us, Brenda. All right, so the thunderstorm is really Dallas-Fort Worth area, pretty much all of Metro Dallas, and to the southwest and northeast, where it's going diagonally across the city. And then if we look further down, another intense line of storms is coming from Houston and going to the northeast towards Shreveport. And that one has a little bit of power to it at this time. And let's skip up ahead. As we see, there's some spotty ones in between that line going up over Louisiana. Then it gets into Greenville, and not South Carolina. It's Greenville, Arkansas. It's Arkansas right there, right? Yeah. In Oxford, Alabama. Is that right? Oxford, Alabama. Yeah. Into Memphis is the section, but then is gained a lot of energy. And if we see, even Huntsville is under the gun, kind of straight up to Evansville, Indiana. That line has got some intensity, and that's going to keep pushing to the east. So keep an eye on it. That one's pretty rough. And I see now why that cell in it's really all of North Georgia. It's pretty intense there. So they'll keep an eye on that. And that same line continues up over Columbus. Cleveland, you're under the gun right now for a pretty strong cell. And if we zoom out here and get the overall picture, if I'd stop moving, you can see that line of storms is pretty intense, going from central Texas all the way up to the Great Lakes. And as that cold front pushes down and through, it's going to push that to the northeast. And it's still not broke through and gotten as cold as it's going to. It will be by the weekend. It's going to be cooler, but until then, we're going to continue to get this energy from the Gulf of America, creating these mid-afternoon pop-up showers that are pretty heavy and will be lasting for a bit. I mean, we say, look at it. It really looks like it just exploded over Memphis right there in northwestern Alabama. It looks like it just basically, while we're watching it, we can see the activity increasing. It's just getting all that Gulf air. Let's look and see what the power outages are. Now this map, well, that's surprising. It's showing Pennsylvania still having problems with power. 128,858. They were having problems yesterday. That same area of Pennsylvania, it looks like they're having a problem. It's probably because of the remote locations, some of the lines in some of the trees causing havoc for them to repair. So give them a little time, but you should always be prepared when you lose power to be without power for 3 days. So, and Chris, I agree. It does look like more than a 2% chance to me. I agree wholeheartedly with you. It's going to have some impact. And I'm really surprised we're not seeing more than that power outage wise in the U.S. right now. We'll hop over and look at our air quality. Well, hopefully this rain will help with one thing. It will help with the air quality. It looks like in the deep south it's helped. In central Texas it's helped. Right in front of the storm, well, following the east side of the Appalachia along the 95 Route 1 corridor, actually, your air quality is pretty moderate. So it's not bad, but it's getting there. But it looks as though that storm is going to be pushing all that out. Hopefully we will have some good air this weekend. Let's see. Let's look at the smoke map. Well, Bring this up a little bit larger. Look at the smoke map, and this is really from the fires just sitting there. This is stagnant smoke. It's not really moving. This is clinging lower to the ground in the deep south, central Texas, over to the northeast, the Carolinas up to New York City. That's going to be sitting lower, so it's not going to be pushed as easily with the front coming through. If you're out in the Gulf of Mexico right now, it's pretty poor air quality, pretty smoky day out there. All right. Look at the allergy map. You know my opinion on this thing. It says we're code green here in East Tennessee, that the only area is Washington, D.C., 95 corridor from D.C. up through New York. Code green, code orange to code red for tree pollen. And it looks like over in the Four Corners region, back to the east, maybe almost over to Indiana or Illinois, maybe just a little bit of code red in the center of that with code orange extending outward. That's because it's starting to dry out behind that storm, and your tree pollen is increasing. Let's see where the aches and pains map is. Let's see. Brenda, will you be hurting today? No, Brenda, you should have a pretty pain-free day. Looks as though the worst pain in the country will be up in Maine, Massachusetts, up in there. And out in the Midwest, the West Coast, maybe. You may have Midwest to West Coast. You may have some aches and pains today. All right, let's move on. Nope, I don't want to. Next map. This one is our allergen, smoke, and pollen map, I guess. It's our air quality map from IQ America. And you can see that as we talked about, that air coming up the Gulf of America is going to be pushing up to the northeast. It breaks right around Chicago, where that turbulent air comes over the Rockies and goes back to the west up into Canada. It doesn't appear any of the storms out in the other parts of the world are affecting it, so that's good news. The other map, remind me when we get to it, I want to look down here where the tsunami is, what the wave map looks like. Pretty much north of the equator, your air quality is where it gets worse. And down in Australia, it looks as though it's not going to be too bad unless you're on the coastline on the northwest side of the continent, maybe up there in was that Port Hedland, Broome, and those areas. Little bit of smoky conditions, pollen conditions coming in, but most of your air is moving still from the east to the west, which I'm sure is quite normal for you guys. And then it hits over there, I'm assuming, to start moving down to the south in the mountainous regions. Make this in a different version for Brenda so she can see what it looks like on a big, beautiful, round, perfect globe. And we can see pretty much the same thing as we were talking about, except in a big, beautiful, perfect round ball. So Denise says we're getting rain now. Well, it's been raining everywhere, Denise, on the east side of the country. Well, that's not true. Texas has been hammered for a while. All right, we're going to look at some forest fires and see what we have here. And I noticed a new one popped over, Black Swamp popped up, and it is 60% contained, 950 acres. And we'll look over into the Appalachia, and we see that 94% contained B-Rock. They have been working on that one for a while. Rattlesnake Branch is still only 26%. And this one, Big Ridge, 88% contained, which is good news. This one to my south is 57% contained, 3,100 acres. And Heo Lead is the area that one is. And let's see, go down towards Texas. Most of these are prescribed burns on the west side, so they're really not going to, on the west of the Mississippi. So currently, you're not going to have many problems with the fire outbreak. There are some that aren't prescribed burns, but very few. Maybe down into the California region. Well, actually, I'm seeing, well, let's see, this one 3 weeks ago, 100% contained. 100% contained. So it looks as like all the ones, even the prescribed ones out in California, they've got a pretty good knock on. So that's good news. But the ones that are causing us the peskiest problems right now, and Miami down here, because of the weather. This was a prescribed burn, but I saw that Miami had a very large brush fire yesterday. They had to call out for the Florida forestry. Over on we talked about that one. That one popped up. Black Swamp, North Carolina. Yeah, Denise, the rain is we've been lucky here in the Tennessee Valley, to the east, to our west, to our north, and to our south, but the East Tennessee Valley's been pretty lucky so far. Let's look here. Let me make this larger. This is the AI wind generated map, big, beautiful, round, perfect globe. And I want to change this over, and I want to look at the wave activity, since we had the earthquake and we have a tsunami event. So we'll look at the currents first. We'll bring down and enlarge this section of the world down in Chile, where they're expecting this. And yeah, there's no real current there. So let's see what the waves are doing. Yeah, it looks like the waves are centering from that epicenter and outward. I don't know the speed of a tsunami. I don't know how fast they travel, but they are doing a real good job of getting evacuations out, because we can see this is traveling to the northeast. So hopefully there's not much loss of life, but I'm afraid there will be. And Ross, or Jurgs, and I were talking about this earlier. And imagine the people where the government comes in and says, we got to go now, but we don't have room for your pet. That's a horrible decision to have to make. So I hope they don't have to make that decision, but unfortunately, in an emergency situation like this, they may have to. And I wish we could really get a report on the height of the waves. That would be great. Let's flatten this out a little bit here. Where is it? Is that it? EOP. Yeah, I like that one better. Go back down here. Is this still the waves? You see down here, it's all going to be pushing down into that area and down to Antarctica. So, yeah, I know it would be a tough decision, Denise, and I got to agree with you. Yeah, you'd find me floating with a life preserver, probably over in Africa. It would be a very tough decision. I don't know that I could make it. All right, so let's pull this up. This is the latest earthquakes, and let's go down here. The Drake Passage, which was, how long ago was it? Well, they've had another one in a Drake Passage, because it was saying this is only 40 minutes ago. This was 6.4, and the earlier one was a 4.3 and a 5.3. So that area is having 4.7, 3.9, 4.5. Yeah, that area right there, it's been having them for a bit for the past 2 hours. There's a 4.3, and yeah, off the coast of Chile, a 3.1. Yeah, there's going to be some problems down there. Chile 2.9. Yeah, Drake Passage 2 hours ago 5.0. And the Drake Passage is in the ocean, but that's what's creating the tsunami. And it appears they've had yet another large earthquake in the Drake Passage recently. That was a 6.4. That was 40 minutes ago. So that's going to increase the tsunami threat. And, well, let's just see if I can pull it up here and see. Let me refresh this and see. All right, so tsunami warning, 6.6 Drake. Yeah, this is the one that just occurred. So let's see if we can zoom in on this and make it bigger. Drake Passage 7.5. When, good Lord, when was that one? So it looks like they've had multiple ones. 6.6, two 6.6 ones. So that whole area down there, can I zoom in and get more information on it? Basically, they're saying that the tsunami is going to affect the lower end of Chile and the Antarctic tip. Luckily, there shouldn't be keywords there, anyone in Antarctic, but the problem is going to be down here in Chile, this outlying area, all these smaller islands, getting these people evacuated to mainland, and it's going to come right across the lower portion of Chile there. And I haven't seen reports yet on the height, but it's not necessarily the height of the wave that you have to worry about. It's how long is that wave going to be there? So all that water should start receding before it gets bigger. But yeah, so they've had more earthquakes since we came online, with the most recent one being 6.6. Now they say there's no tsunami warning, but yet Chile is evacuating. So I don't understand that. Maybe that's from the earlier one. Let's pull this up here over here. This is our volcanic warning. Nothing really new on the volcano warning. We're under watches with out in Hawaii, up in Alaska. They're under an advisory, and we're watching all these on these little tiny islands off the Alaskan coast. Now let's go over here to this. And we can say, yeah, just look down here. Can I zoom in on that area? Yeah, just look at the number of earthquakes they've had down there on the lower end of Chile. So this will be the area where most of the tsunami event is going to be. And let's really keep our eyes on it, maybe even as far as the Falklands. But yeah, they've had several in the past since we've been on the air, they've had several pretty significant earthquakes out in the ocean. And that's what's going to be causing the tsunami events. So let's keep our eyes on South America there. Space weather conditions, basically, as I said earlier, nothing to really report. Look at the aurora for the next couple days and see. And it doesn't appear that it's going to be making it any further. Well, no, there we go. It may make it into some of the northern and midwestern states. I will take my words back. So the aurora, Chris has to help me pronounce that one, does look like at some point in time it may jump down into the upper part of the country. Well, it showed that and then it went away. Where'd it go? Yeah, here it is. So yeah, probably in the earlier morning hours, you can see the aurora as it comes down to and explodes over. Well, you might see it as far down as West Virginia. Interesting. All right, so if you're anywhere pretty much north of West Virginia, you stand a good chance of seeing the aurora tonight. Good to know. All right, I'm going to refresh this. And this is the Global Disaster Alert and Coordination Center. And as we see down here, all the seismic activity, 6.4 May at 1759. And it is it's 1845 now. So universal coordinated time. So what is that? An hour ago was the 6.4. Go away. Thank you. So we see Chile, Argentina have been all the areas hardest hit with the earthquakes, flooding in the United States, Peru, Ecuador, volcanic activity in the Philippines, and droughts we are pretty much common in the African continent this time of year. All right, so we'll move on. We'll hit it to our event list. We covered this the other day, but I don't know if we did it really quick because we were running out of time. We got a few minutes today. So I'll try and go back some if I can. Zimbabwe, fishermen drowned after a hippo attack. Their bodies are still missing. Let's see. This is where the measles outbreak. We're at 820 something. The last news article I checked for the U.S. Chicago airport panic as passenger diagnosed with world's most infectious disease. Well, Chris, let's pull this one up. This could be interesting. Chicago's O'Hare International has been placed on red alert after a possible measles outbreak. The passenger was mainly confined to the airport's Terminal 1, but had already exposed hundreds to the world's most infectious disease. reports the Daily Mail. The infected individual developed a rash on 25 April despite receiving one dose of the measles vaccine. The person was diagnosed with a quote breakthrough infection, which is the most serious actually, and has been isolated at home since then. Health officials have advised residents to get 2 doses of the vaccine at least 2 weeks before traveling. A second case was reported in suburban Cook County, where the individual's vaccine status remains unknown. Health authorities are urging anyone who may have been exposed to contact their healthcare provider for further guidance. Measles cases in the U.S. have surged with nearly, okay, so I said 825, it's 900 now confirmed cases across 30 states. So it's going to be getting close to a point in time where bad thing happens. And Glen said explodes as a description of the aurora. That's correct. I was describing the lighting effect of the aurora. I was not talking about any type of electrical, chemical, biological. Boy, I just hit a lot of triggers there. Events. Keep me out of trouble, Chris. Yes, I was talking about a weather phenomena. So let's see. United Kingdom symptoms of a parasite infection after outbreak linked to United Kingdom farm petting session. Well, let's pull this up. That sounds interesting. Health officials are investigating after a suspected outbreak after 28 people became unwell. That's one way of saying it. Following feeding and petting sessions at a farm in Wales Public Health in Wales. Public Health Wales are looking into the suspected parasitic infection outbreak linked to a visit to Cowbridge Farm Shop at Marlborough Grange Farm, Cowbridge in Wales. Investigators alongside the NHS, the Cardiff and Vale University Health Board, blah, 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 are involved in the investigation in the outbreak, believed to be the parasite, Cryptosporidium, a bug that lives in the intestines of infected humans and animals. What? Consult a health protection. What? We're closely working with our partners to investigate these cases and to understand if there's a wider risk to the public. It lives in your stomach. What? No, get rid of that thing. Drink some vodka. Won't that get rid of it? People who are now experiencing symptoms to please contact the UK Health Department. And they previously issued a warning to anyone planning farm visits in the spring, as rising temperatures could bring an increased risk of GI infections caused by the harmful bacteria. I can say that, but I can't. But I can say Cryptosporidium and E. coli. All right, that's not good news. How are we doing on time? We got 10 minutes. Let's see. We'll skip through here. 100 school children fall sick after a snake appears at lunch. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. One snake made 100 people sick. How did that happen? Human rights body said Thursday it was investigating more reports that 100 children fell sick after eating a school lunch served after a dead snake was found in the food. What? Reportedly, the cook served the food to the children, and it's Lunch Hero Day. It's Lunch Hero Day, and the school workers served dead snake to the children. What the hell? Cook said they served the food to the children after removing a dead snake from it. It's children. It's school health hero. School. What was it? Hero. What, Lord? And it's dead snake. Well, in India, don't eat dead snake, apparently. So 100 school children are sick because of a dead snake. And they're saying that the consumption of midday meals, wow, it's led to a blocking of the road by protesting villagers. Well, I would say so, because it's Lunch Hero Day. Good Lord. Free lunches. So here's a free lunch. Eat some dead snake, kids. Wow. So now, I'm just going to throw this out there. It hasn't hit the 5 o'clock drop time. Remember we were talking about India and Pakistan? Could this be something else? red flag, 100 children, because that's one of the things they would probably want to go after the week. Huh. The poorest states. Yeah. Yeah. So keep your eyes on that one. That's shady to me. All right. Australia, that's an old report, but dozens of dead corallias. I never did look up to see what that was. It was a bug, wasn't it? It was a fish bug. I don't remember, but it was old news. 4:30, major pipeline in Pakistan leaked near Karachi University. People 40% cut in water supply expected. Yeah, that whole area is going to get hot right there. Passengers hospitalized after a train sits in the heat for 2 hours in Belgium. Emergency landslide erosion halts trains in San Clemente, the United States, for several weeks. That just occurred. And let's see, United Kingdom, King Cross evacuated in rush hour as passengers blast travel chaos. King Cross evacuated. All right, we're running out of time, but I don't understand this headline. United Kingdom, King Cross evacuated in rush hours. Passengers blast travel chaos. I'm reading articles on YouTube of the news YouTube. One of London's key train station was evacuated, causing travel chaos. London's King Cross station was evacuated earlier, with one eyewitness calling the scenes major chaos. Although it is now understood to have been reopened, thousands were forced to wait outside. Travel for hundreds will be impacted. The major train station, the capital, is cleared. Pictures taken in front of this train station showed long numbers of confused commuters, with thousands heading into tonight's clash between the Spurs and the Bodo something at the something stadium. Chris, can you decipher that one for me? I don't understand that one. The Spurs and the Bodos are going to be fighting tonight in the Hotspur Stadium, and it's caused some kind of chaos at the train station. You'll have to translate that one for me, Chris. Japan. Snake causes power outage. That was the one we talked about the other day. We're almost out of time here, guys and gals. Let's see. Social incidents. Syria, 14 dead after clashes. That's new. Public safety incidents. Police officer and police horse injured in riots. Rioter bitten by a police dog. Well, the dog was doing his job. Malta, drone ships attack aid going to Gaza, and 2 injured in Berlin in a Berlin shooting. In Japan, a man is arrested after allegedly driving his car into school children. What is going on with people and kids? 5 tourists are feared. That's an old news. 3 killed, 3 injured in overnight shootings in Minneapolis. Chris, it wasn't you. Let's see. Apparently, that is a soccer game going on in London. So why is there going to be violence, Chris? It's supposed to be fun times when you watch your team. Let's see. Drop down here real quick. Serial demonstrations. 10 injured in Socialist Party police clash. May Day rally in Paris. I was reading Frederick County, Maryland had some intense police activity with arrests from people from protests. Kenya, 5 were killed. We know about Ukraine. Crisis as toxic algae overwhelms San Diego. Rescuers as marine life suffers. Okay. Iran, a deadly blast from a fireworks factory. Isn't that a normal thing? Let's see. Germany, explosion occurred in northern Germany. Nigeria, the barracks exploded. Situation under control, according to the army. Well, your barracks exploded. I guess it's okay. United States fire. Several injured in a fire at a laundromat that spread to apartment in Jersey City. Also, overnight, there was a fire, and I do not know her name. No, ma'am. I am Monday through Friday. I take the weekend off. So unless something really big breaks, but I'm pretty sure I'll be off. I'm not sure if I'm going to be traveling yet or staying in East Tennessee. So I'm not 100% yet. So So I will not be online unless there's major breaking news. But the lady that I don't remember her name, she was the singer in the 1980s hit "I Kissed a Girl and I Like It." She was killed overnight in a house fire. That was in the news I didn't get to. Let's see. Grass fire breaks out in South Miami-Dade. 4 acres burned, 60% contained. That was what I was talking about. Israel firefighters battling to extinguish a forest blaze. And we talked about all these earthquakes. United Kingdom major route to Greater Manchester shuts down after road collapse. Okay, major route in Greater Manchester shuts down after road collapse. And United States Kilauea volcano has been active. It's been active for a couple days, and that's in the Alaskan volcanic. Puerto Rico floods. And South Netherlands power outage in Dutch City, leaving 20,000 in the dark. Well, be prepared for power outages lasting up to 3 days, coming soon, I'm sure. Let's see. Romania, shocking 150-year-old historic wooden bridge, Transylvania collapsed. Why is it shocking? It was 150 years old. Japan, wind turbine breaks in Japan. Man found dead nearby. Okay. 8 die in, no, it's old news. Zimbabwe's capital city battles swarming bed bugs. Well, that's interesting. And let's see, that's old news. I'm trying to skim through real quick here for you guys because I know the weekend is approaching. 1 dead in a plane crash in Grass Valley, U.S. Helicopter crashes into water with 3 people on board in Australia. And public road accidents. Germany, 3 injured after a car plowed into Stuttgart. U.S., 7 people are dead after a pickup and tour van collided near Yellowstone. And 17 suburban students, 2 drivers injured in Southside school bus crash in Chicago. Pakistan, 8 family members killed in Lower Kazakhstan as vehicle plunged into the gorge. China, bus crash in Hong Kong injures 22. Philippines, 12 dead after passenger bus slams into vehicle at toll booth. Pakistan, 4 dead as tractor trolley plunges into the deep gorge. And let's see, weather, the drought. We talked about dust storm in Egypt, northwestern Egypt, hit by a sandstorm. We'll see the residual wind from that in the dust storm traveling to the west, which will eventually get us. And hail, man, there's been some large size hail in these last few storms. And we talked about that. We haven't really discussed the thick fog thing much. And there was some tornadic activity over the past few days. All right, I'm going to have to cut the feed for Radio X and Yergs and Rights Talk Radio because it's time for David Beckmeyer to come on. And I will be back on Monday. I'm not sure if I will be in Knoxville or I will be in Atlanta yet. So just stay tuned. More to come. And I guess that's about it. Everybody tune in to David Beckmeyer. He's got a great show coming up next on Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, Radio X Australia. Y'all have a great day. All right, everybody is with me still on YouTube. Just kind of looking real quick. We'll scan. I know I've kept you all way longer than I like to. Nothing really new there. We'll zoom in here. Yeah, Monday, Ken, KG, yes, you will see me then. Looking, zooming in. I'm just going to kind of scan and see anything jumps out at me. I don't really see anything news-wise. New England fire news. Everything's pretty much all these isolated incidents. Queens, New York City fire. It had a house with a male injured, head trauma after a house fire. Okay. Robbery in Manhattan, firearm shown, level 1. All right. Is this one? That's the Queens Boulevard verbal 2. That's the one for the house fire with a person with a head injury. Missing person, Staten Island, Highland Boulevard, NYPD on scene of a missing person, level 1 immobilization. And let's see, was that the house fire? Yeah, that one's under control. Search is complete in Manhattan. Buffalo had a pretty large fire the other day between two high rises. They managed to contain nicely. Over here, MVA with entrapment in Bedminster. All right. And let's zoom out and see if there's anything else. We really need to start supporting them better and getting them some more information for the New England Fire Net so that we can get them information. There's the marine traffic. I didn't need to explore why the maps are different. Whoa, this has exploded. These are the balloons that are currently up. There was like one up in the Northwest when I brought this map up. That's surprising. Well, no, that's not surprising. And I'll tell you why real quick. This is all the airplanes overhead at the current time. Let's skip out here for a second. Thank you, Jill. Sobule was the singer that died in the fire. Yes, that's correct. Let's zoom out here. Let's take a look at something real quick here. I'll just do this for the people hanging around still on YouTube, X, and Twitch. Over the weekend, we've seen, or over the past few days, we've seen a lot of training going on down here. And most of these are all Blackhawks. You'll see all these are mostly Blackhawks. But during the night, they trade off, and that plane, I bet you, is just going to be flying the southern border. Yeah, pretty much flying the southern border. Coming from Hawaii. Interesting. He's flying to the southern border. I bet he's going to go down here. Anyhow, at night, they have transitioned most of the Blackhawk activity to the Gulf of America, down in the Panhandle, right there in the curve, and then over here from pretty much Charleston to the west, you can see in a circle. So there's been a lot of activity at night with the Blackhawks out in the ocean, which is not that common. And I say that because they do like to train. They train at night, but I think they're looking for something. There's a reason they're doing what they're doing. The government always has a mission. I mean, I understand everything along the Gulf that's going on with the planes flying and checking the security. Like that one's going to travel the entire length of the border. But there's some, that are doing things at night that are very interesting off the coast. They're keeping an eye, once again, off the coastline. And it could be, from what I'm hearing, it could be a cargo ship. And we have discovered that some countries that don't like us so much have now got technology where they can disguise not missiles, but drone systems in cargo containers. So they're keeping an eye on things like that, is my guess. I don't know for a fact. I can't say. Here comes a C-30. He doesn't have his flight log listed. I'm betting due to his proximity, he's coming from right there in Gitmo. I love some of these call signs. Ugly 52, a V-22. I love their call sign. And he's just kind of cruising around. There's going to be, if we look at it, let's see, since we know Trump is down in Florida, I'm sure that area is increased. Not so much so. And I did read that we have been testing. The reason that they have this up, because we've talked about the space watches being up. I did read in a military journal overnight that we've been testing our hypersonic missiles off of the Cape. And of course, we know, if you watched the show for a while, you knew we wondered what was going on up here in Alaska with space operations. We found out that they were doing a test of high altitude drones, hypersonic drones. So just things to watch out for. Everybody be aware. All the governments are on edge right now. I don't know if it's a normal thing or not, but they're on edge. And at night, I know that I'm seeing a lot of activity pick up with the government down in the Gulf of America and in over on the Atlantic side. So just be aware, be weather aware. 2 ways to have your battery powered, electrical powered weather. Always have a flashlight with you because, well, you never can tell when you might need it. All right, so I've ran over. I really appreciate you guys and gals. I will see you on Monday at 1 o'clock 1 to 3. We will be back live on Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, Radio X Australia, and I forget the new one we picked up. And of course, all of this is replayed midnights in Pine Island FM in Florida. All of my shows are replayed overnight. And in Friday nights, you can catch the replay of the Para Our Normal Guys on WRFN Radio Free Nashville. So I think that's it for today, everybody. Unless there's any more questions, everybody have a great weekend. Try and stay safe. Don't worry about this stuff. I got you covered. If something happens, I'll try and come online. So make sure to hit that notification bell if something major comes up. Before we go, I'll take a real quick look at the weather radar to make sure that there's nothing too crazy going on. And let me bring it up here. It doesn't look like, it hasn't made it to me yet, but it doesn't look like there's any severe, well, there's severe thunderstorms, but I don't see any tornadic activity. Once again, this is sitting kind of still, Texas all the way up to the Ohio Valley. So, all right, be weather aware, be aware and alert to your surroundings. Always have a pocket tool on you. You never can tell when you might need it. Everybody have a great weekend. I will see you guys soon. Sportcat is out of here. Push the right button this time.